Eleanor had always seen the old house she'd just moved into as a haven. Its high ceilings, creaking floorboards, and vast windows overlooking a sprawling garden offered the perfect escape from the city's ceaseless drone. Her first few weeks were serene. Eleanor busied herself with decorating, spending her days writing and her nights gazing at the stars from her bedroom. This was her sanctuary until the peculiarities began. At first, they were trivial. Keys left on the kitchen counter would inexplicably turn up on the living room coffee table. A couple of times, she'd return from the bathroom to find the living room lamp on, even though she was certain she'd switched it off.
Old houses just do that.
But then things grew more pronounced. At night, she started hearing footsteps from the upstairs, from empty rooms. Sometimes it was a heavy tread descending the main staircase, other times a mere whisper, as if someone was calling her name. Mostly, she attributed these to dreams or her own insomnia, but one night, dozing on the sofa, she felt an icy touch on her hair. She woke with a jolt, finding the room empty, save for a sharp chill that made her shiver, even in the height of summer. Roland, her closest friend, had listened to Michael's strange tales of reflections and initially thought Eleanor was experiencing something similar. But Michael's last calls had left him deeply worried. The oddities in Eleanor's house started to genuinely unsettle Roland too. Even during his visits, they both felt inexplicable cold drafts. Witnessed kitchen cupboard doors suddenly swinging open and shut. He'd said with concern,
"This isn't just stress, Eleanor. Maybe you should look into having an energy cleansing or something."
Eleanor tried. She burned sage, searched for house cleansing rituals online. But it was futile. The entity in the house seemed only to grow angrier with her attempts. One evening, Eleanor was sitting in the living room, watching television, when she caught a glimpse of her own reflection on the screen. But her reflection wasn't alone. Peering over her shoulder, slightly out of focus, was a tall, gaunt figure. The figure had no discernible face, just an emptiness, but Eleanor knew it was staring at her, feeling her presence. Her heart hammered in her chest. She couldn't scream. It felt like an unseen hand was clamped over her throat. The figure slowly leaned closer to Eleanor's shoulder, and a whisper echoed in her mind.
"This is mine."
Eleanor spun around, but there was no one there. On the television screen, there was only her own reflection, pale and ghost-like, her eyes wide with terror. That's when she understood. The ghost in the house wasn't just footsteps or a cold draft. It wanted her. This house, her supposed sanctuary, was a prison, and she was its newest inmate. The following days became a torment. Eleanor couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every sound, every shadow plunged her into dread. The ghost no longer hid. Even in broad daylight, it moved her belongings, slammed doors to express its mood. It sat in Eleanor's favorite armchair, appearing as a slight indentation in the cushion, a faint outline of a form, as if wrapped in a blanket. Eleanor could almost make out its transparent shape. One night, as Eleanor lay shivering in bed, a dull light appeared in the middle of the room. The figure materialized, clearer, more defined this time. It had no face, yet somehow Eleanor knew it was smiling at her.
"I enjoy playing with you."
Its voice resonated in Eleanor's mind, mimicking her own soft whisper. The figure slowly glided towards Eleanor, her heart pounded in her chest. A hand, icy, invisible but tangible, seized Eleanor's wrist. It lifted her from the bed, dragging her towards the hallway. Eleanor struggled, she cried, but no sound escaped her lips and no one heard. The ghost pulled her down the stairs, towards the center of the living room. Directly in front of them stood Eleanor's newly acquired antique mirror. The ghost brought Eleanor right up to it, then released her wrist. Eleanor looked into the mirror. She saw herself reflected, but her eyes were different, lifeless, empty. And behind her, the ghostly figure's blurred form was sharpening, becoming more distinct. For a single moment, the ghost's indistinct face seemed to lean into Eleanor's reflected one. Eleanor saw that empty, lifeless gaze in her own eyes and shuddered. Then her own reflection's lips, like the ghost's mouth, slowly curled and whispered,
"Now, we're home."
As Eleanor's consciousness began to fade, the last thing she saw was her own face in the mirror, transforming into an expression not her own, with a growing emptiness. Eleanor's scream was caught in her throat. The house was no longer hers. She had become a part of it. And the old wooden house, quiet and still amidst the city's clamor, stood with its new, silent occupants,